Welcome to THOR's training video on the one-line maker demo. To get familiar with this, we'll start with the keys on top. We have remove grid. This is the grid to help you place things. If you hit remove grid, it removes the grid. Once more, restores it. Clear work. If you have items on the grid, clear work will remove all the items and start you with a fresh sheet. The other item is print preview. It allows you to print preview the one-line riser diagram which you've made at this point. And then we have a list of icons. This is icon save list number 1, icon save list number 2. Now notice we have a lot of empty spaces. If you right click in the space, you can load in whatever icons you like. So we have up to 15 locations to save as many icons as you would like in those 15 spaces. So going back to number 2, let's look at number 3. I've loaded in a few of these icons just to show you how to use the program. So let's go ahead and start with save list number 1. Let's go ahead and build a simple one-line diagram. I'll go ahead and put a delta Y transformer, and then I'll put a fuse, and then at this point I'll call it a disconnect, and now I'll put in an X for splitting off, and then I'll put some legs coming down, and now we'll put in some more switches, and then we'll put in some thermals, and we'll throw in some fuses, and then some motors, and then we'll symbolically showing the motors being grounded. Okay, and if we like to add more detail to it or color, then we can add blocking, and these blocking can also be pictures. So if we wish, we could add pictures, or we could add other symbolic representation of what's going on, or we could just add plain artwork. Anything you like, pretty much. So let's go ahead and remove the grid, and now we'll start adding comments to it. But before we add comments, let's go ahead and see what this looks like so far. So here's what this looks like so far. Again, whatever you can think of, you can pretty much do with this. Alright, so let's go ahead and add comments. And so I'll just put in some comments here and then click on it. And let's go to project name. So I'll also just copy project name. And let's go ahead and print preview now. So what we have is the comments show up here and the project name here. The drawing name, the scale drawn by, project ID, project information. Also, we have up here 3 lines of information. I'll show you what to do with those. So if we go down to the project title, let's go ahead and put some project title, project subtitle, and project notes. And let's go ahead and see what it looks like. So here we go, project titles, subtitle, and note. Okay, notice also it shows the date that this was drawn. And now let's go into some more detail here by going into notes. Okay, note on line 1, and whenever you hit enter or click it, it'll show you. Now notice the notes apply right here. So what happens here is we can put notes on each of the 9 lines. Now what we can call this is the main transformer 50 kVA, and there we have it. That identifies that as the main transformer 50 kVA. If we want to space it over a little bit, just go ahead and click it and maneuver it over to get closer to the transformer so that you can see that's what it's referring to. Okay, line 2 is main fuse, 400 amps, whatever. And so we'll just maneuver it over so we can see what it's actually pointing at. Okay, and line 3 is the main disconnect, and again we can maneuver it over so that you can see what it's referring to. Now these blocks here, let's just remove them because we only put them there for looks. So let's go ahead and just put blanks over top of them, and we can put blanks over this stuff too, just to erase them, or we could take and move them. So at this point you can do either one. And then going down, this is line 3, 4, 5. So line 5 is the motor disconnects. Okay, so we can just maneuver it over a little bit, and we can say disconnect 1, disconnect 2, disconnect 3, and as you see, it then moves them over so you can see what the disconnects are all about. There we go, disconnect 1, 2, and 3. And the same thing, we can capture this and go to line 6 and just paste it, and now we can relabel it to fuses. Okay, so there we go. And again, just click and move it on over to where it lines up where you like it. And this is actually not fuses, this should be on, let's go and cut this, it should be on the next line, which is line 7. No problem, let's just paste it in line 7, and there we go. So line 6 should have been thermals. So let's go back to line 6 and paste it in, motor thermals. Okay, there we go. Now if we want to check our spelling out, we can right click on this, spell checking pops up, and it apparently likes that. So let's go to line 7 and spell check that by right clicking. It likes that also. Let's just say that we spelled it wrong by saying double S's. Okay, let's go ahead and spell check now. Okay, now it comes up and says, aha, did you really mean that or did you mean this? So if you choose fuse and say change, then it'll make the change for you. Alright, let's go ahead and see what it looks like. Clear the grid and print preview, and there we have it. So we can exit or print preview or just print it now. We could print it to a PDF or whatever we have available, and then we can view it that way. Let's go ahead and view it at 50% or better yet 100%, and there we have it. So this has been a simple illustration on how to use the one-line demo.